Hey guys, welcome back to the MCU HQ, and here's my review of the penultimate episode of What If Season 1, titled What If Ultron Won. As usual, I'll start non-spoiler, then go spoiler, but fair warning, there's not a lot of non-spoiler stuff today. I actually sat there writing my notes, trying to figure out how I was going to do this non-spoiler. So I did the best I could. So, yeah. Anyway, so this is a universe where Ultron wins. He successfully uploads himself into Vision, completes his mission, and then he also gets the Infinity Stones while he's at it. And I will say that the way he gets the Infinity Stones, I don't think anyone was expecting him to do it the way he did. It was kind of funny. Okay, so this episode picks up... It doesn't pick up from the episode 7 cliffhanger, because it doesn't start right after it, but it kind of picks up that storyline that we saw start in episode 7. And so because of this, because Ultron is a multiversal threat now that not even the Watcher saw coming, the Watcher's story is furthered in kind of him versus Ultron. We kind of get to see some of that in this episode. There's a cool dynamic between these two characters. But also, they do remember to actually focus it on the heroes too, the main MCU heroes, and it's a world where Hawkeye and Black Widow are the only confirmed survivors of Ultron's destruction of Earth. We don't see any other characters in this episode besides Hawkeye and Black Widow. And I will say that it makes me wish that we got more of Hawkeye and Black Widow in the movies, the two of them just hanging out doing stuff, because their dynamic in this episode is great. And the way Hawkeye acts, he's more fun, more lively. I think it's a good tease for what we can expect in the Hawkeye series. And that trailer, I mean, it looks promising, so hopefully we get this version of Hawkeye more, because I loved him. Also, once again, Lake Bell does voice Natasha Romanoff in this episode. She's pretty good. I think they did pretty good casting getting her for Natasha. Unfortunately, James Spader does not return to voice Ultron, which is a bit jarring because his voice is so unique for Ultron that hearing someone kind of do like a James Spader impression but not quite get there, it's kind of jarring. And I think something this episode did really well is it didn't force jokes in there and be funny just for the sake of being funny. It was like what the Zombies episode probably should have been, because the Zombies episode, they had people cracking jokes a lot and people having fun in the middle of just the apocalypse. This one's serious. They ain't playing around in this one. I think this is the tone they should have done for Zombies. I liked this tone. And also, coming off of the Party Thor episode, which I did not like, it was nice to see stakes again. I've realized there was a point in this episode where it hit me that this show works so much better when people are dying. Which will explain why my least favorite episodes are the more lighthearted episodes. I don't think that format works for the show as well. I think having just these massive chaotic stories is what works best for the show. I didn't read the comics. I know they do this in the What If comics all the time, so I'm not complaining. I don't want any responses like, well, it's comic accurate. I don't care. I still don't like that choice, so I don't care if it's adapted from comics or not. I don't like the lighthearted stories this show's done. My favorite episodes are Hank killing the Avengers and Doctor Strange destroying a universe. And this episode ends with another cliffhanger to tease the Guardians of the Multiverse, which, as we know, the Watcher is gonna interfere, and he's gonna kind of bring everyone and cross them all over. It's in the trailer. We see Killmonger and T'Challa and Captain Carter. We see Black Widow from this episode. She's there. We see Gamora with Thanos' armor. But, so if we're to believe that's next episode, there's still so much stuff that they haven't showed yet. I'm not going to say exactly what those are, because I don't want you to hear these and be like, oh, well, it's not in this episode. I thought it would be, because I don't want to spoil what's also not in the episode. So I'll mention it in spoilers, what's not in this that's still yet to come for this show. But yes, I think another solid episode. Is this the best of the best? No. Is it a good episode? Yes. And is it better than Party Thor? It is better in every conceivable way. So I'm gonna hop into spoilers now. So if you've not seen the episode, don't watch this. Unless you just don't care about spoilers. Because I'm gonna spoil like all its major aspects. And double spoiler warning, because some big like series implication stuff, multiversal implication stuff happens in this episode, so if you don't want that spoiled, go leave now. Alright, so let's hop into this. First thing I gotta mention, the Infinity Stones work outside of their own universe in the MCU, it looks like. They work outside of their own timeline. I had always thought the reason they worked in Endgame is because the Avengers traveled to branches of the main universe, so it was technically the Infinity Stones of their universe. But in this one, Ultron's just flying through the multiverse and the stones work everywhere. So that's a change they made. I wonder if it's because the writers weren't aware of that from the comics, or if they just changed it because they felt like it. So the MCU Infinity Stones do not work the same as comic Infinity Stones. Second thing I need to mention, Iron Man dies again. That's what, the fourth time in this show? Because he got killed by Hank, and then there was a zombie of him, and then Killmonger killed him, and then, I mean, we did also see his snap in the Killmonger episode, and then he was killed by Ultron in this one. So that's 5 times in the show. Only on screen, because if it was off screen, he would have died in the Doctor Strange episode. But on screen, he's died 5 times in this show. Anyway, let's get into some main plot stuff. So what happens is Ultron gets his body and he destroys the world. He launches all the nukes, he like kills all of humanity. And he has the Mind Stone in his head, and Thanos comes through a portal with all the stones except the Mind Stone, because he's coming for the Mind Stone. And Vision just slices up him with his laser beam. Something I feel like he should have been able to do in Infinity War, I guess. But yeah, so he just cuts up him, and just Thanos just breaks in half. And then Ultron just takes all of the Infinity Stones. So everyone who was wondering how he was going to get the Soul Stone, he just took it. No sacrifice, nothing. He just took it. And he becomes a danger to the multiverse. He goes to Asgard and Ego and Xandar, and he just wipes everything out. We also get another surprise appearance from Captain Marvel, which if there's one thing I can say that I'm like not a big fan of in this show, it's the Captain Marvel kind of just shows up randomly. She's just there, and then the show just moves on with itself. And yeah, in this episode, she just shows up on Xandar and then gets blown up along with the planet. And so he does all this, and he just kind of cleanses everything. He just destroys everything. And he transcends knowledge, as the Watcher says, and Ultron hears the Watcher, and then turns around and sees the Watcher. And then not only that, but he also manages to break through the universal barrier beyond time to get to the Watcher. And they have a pretty unique fight. Because the Watcher is insanely powerful, and Ultron is insanely powerful, and they are slamming each other through the multiverse. Or I guess Ultron is slamming the Watcher through the multiverse. Yeah, the Watcher gets his ass beat in this. He actually has to retreat. Like, he leaves to go talk to Doctor Strange, who we'll get back to. So, let's talk about the main plot with Black Widow and Hawkeye here, because they are the survivors of this, and they go to some KGB vault to find the files they're looking for, and the Watcher wants to interfere so bad and just point out where it is, but he still has not broken anything yet. He refuses to interfere at this point. Anyway, they find a file that's labeled Arnim Zola, and they know Zola has his little algorithm thing, his little computer self from Winter Soldier, and they're like, if we can put that in an Ultron sentry, then we can upload him into the main Ultron, and then save the world that way. Honestly, pretty good plan. But it backfires, because they get it in there, right? They get Zola into Ultron, or into an Ultron Sentry. They're escaping, and Hawkeye sacrifices himself to save Natasha and Arnim Zola. And it's a pretty cool death scene, I will say. Hawkeye goes out like a badass. But Zola can't upload into Ultron because Ultron isn't in the universe. He's beyond the universe and beyond time, kicking the Watcher's ass. And Black Widow, she's pretty good with her father's shield. So yeah, and then everything else is just banter between Natasha and Hawkeye, and then Ultron and the Watcher fighting through the multiverse. So what ends up happening is that the Watcher ends up in Doctor Strange's bubble that he made for himself, and he says he's just been living alone. And Doctor Strange takes great pleasure in hearing the Watcher say that he's going to have to break his oath, and he says he needs Doctor Strange's help. So it looks like that would mean the next episode, Strange and the Watcher team up to get the Guardians of the Multiverse together naturally. But here's my question. What all is going to be in the final episode? Because we know that the Guardians of the Multiverse consists of, we've seen it's Black Widow, Killmonger, T'Challa, Star-Lord, Captain Carter, and Gamora with Thanos' armor on. So is that gonna be next episode when we see Gamora with Thanos' armor? Because we haven't gotten any story for that. And also, there's actually a toy of this one, but we haven't seen it, is Tony Stark on Sakaar. I don't think those are both gonna be next episode. So I feel like something is gonna be in season 2. But there's already a toy for the Tony Stark one, which leads me to believe that would have to be this season. But then also the Gamora's in the team that they put together, which means that would be this season. So are we getting all of that in the last episode of the show? Oh, and Party Thor, he's on the Guardians of the Multiverse too. God, I hate that episode so much, I forgot he exists. That's all I had to talk about, just a few things I wanted to mention there. So I am excited for the finale of this season. Just everyone throwing down against Ultron. That's something I'm really looking forward to. But what were your thoughts on this episode? Let me know down in the comments below. Also, leave a like on this video, subscribe, click on the bell icon to receive all notifications from the MCHQ. That's going to be it. Have a great day, guys.